What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sitting in it's normally my office at home, but now it's my studio for YouTube. And I want to introduce to you guys a new camera I picked up. A little bit of gas set in, but I had a little curiosity. I had to scratch the itch. And really, if you're watching this, I'm sure you will watch it. This is your fault. One of the guys I talk to on a regular basis that follows the channel, I'll call them our friends now, picked up this camera and was exchanging pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks really, really, really good. But before I tell you what that camera is, if I haven't given away in the title already, I want to explain a couple things so far about my gear setup. If you look over here on my shoulder, I have the Leica M8, I have my Ricoh GR, I have a GoPro or a DJI Osmo Action. My film camera's not back there, but then I also have a Lumix S5, and then like a decorative old collapsible camera. These cameras are awesome. The Leica, let's talk about that for a second. I love it. It's a lot of fun to focus with the rangefinder, and the body feels premium, and it's brass, and it's Leica, and that's really, really cool. The reality is I don't shoot with it very much, hardly at all, in fact, because the two things I need the most, it doesn't really have, and that's one of them is autofocus. I chase kids around all day. My kids, that's the subject of my life. Whether my kids are doing sports or they're running around the house or whatever, getting them to stand still, or even getting the focus right as they're moving with the focus tab is extremely difficult. And so I don't use it for that reason. The second thing is when I'm shooting like landscapes or whatever it might be, sure, I can figure it out, but the back, well, if you look at the optical viewfinder, the rangefinder patch, it's hard to know your exposure, right? I mean, it tells you if you're there or not, but if it's a high contrast scene with backlighting and dark shadows, it's hard to figure out. So what I usually have to do, I take a picture, and then you can actually view the histogram, I believe, and the information on the back of the camera, and you can kind of just dial it in from there, right? And it's not a real efficient way, but again, the image is only 10 megapixels, so if this happens to be the one shot that I think is amazing, I want to blow up for my wall, which is my goal this year, one of my photography goals, I don't know if that's the one or not, but in saying that, I don't know how much 10 megapixels versus 24 makes a big difference. That's number one. Number two, the other camera, the Lumix S5 I have, it's a fantastic camera. The autofocus is a little goofy if you're doing fast action sports because it's not phase detect. They've done a pretty good job ironing out that fact in video. And really, it's a heck of a camera for the price. The two things about it that kind of throw me out, I don't love the EVF in it, and that's a big thing for me. If you guys have watched this for a while, looking through an OVF and seeing things clearly is really important to me. So if it's going to be an EVF, it's got to be a really good one. That one's not so great. And then, of course, it's just bigger, and so it sits around a lot. I brought it on the kayaking trip. I did Turn Up Rock, that picture right there. And in reality, I could have brought any camera in size I think was important. In fact, that was my point. The Ricoh GR I was using could have been sufficient if I would have shot it in RAW and processed it back in Lightroom. And so, I look at things and I say, I got two cameras that are totaling something like $4,000, $5,000. I'll put the little math up right there. Why am I spending all this money? And so anyways, I had my eye on this camera for a long time now, and somebody that I said I knew had it. He posted me some pictures, and I was just totally blown away. So without dragging this on, I just recently picked up, and I'm just figuring out, this guy right here. This is the Nikon Z5. And what got me attracted to it is the old Nikon D750 had amazing colors, I thought, out of the camera, like the D700, D750. That lineage area of cameras had really, really good colors. When I had the Nikon Z6, before this, I actually loved the camera quite a bit, but I felt like it was too Sony-ish in some instances. Some Nikon people are going to kill me or whatever. Like I said, I saw pictures that came out of this Z5, and I said, oh my gosh, it actually does seem to have a different color palette compared to the Z6. I'm assuming the Z6 too. So I just picked this up, and I got the 24-70 kit lens with it, and then I have a 51.8 that I bought off somebody like brand new, super cheap, like $400, which I think is a smoking deal for that lens. And I'm giving this a whirl. So I guess what I want to tell you guys is I think this is the best value camera in photography right now, hands down. It's a full frame sensor. The colors that come out of it are phenomenal. The body doesn't feel cheap. On the contrast, the Canon EOS RP, I hated that camera. I think it felt super cheap. The autofocus in my limited experience so far is good. Of course, it's not Sony or Canon good, but it's good. Good enough for sure. The controls are great. The layout's great. I think Nikon's doing fantastic stuff with their image quality, their lenses. And I think it's a fantastic overall package for $1,000. I mean, IBIS, weather sealing, whatever. There's only two reasons why you wouldn't get this camera, in my opinion. One is if you shoot 4K video. It's a 1.77 crop, or I think it is, 1.7 something. So you basically have to shoot on the 14 to 30 if you're going to vlog in 4K. That's number one. Number two is if you're a sports shooter. Fast frame rate stuff. I think the frame rate on this is like 4.5, don't quote me. It's not going to be great for fast frame rate stuff. But other than that, for 99% of the photography you do, landscape, portraiture, limited sports if you want, if like it's just your kid, I think you can get away with 4.5 frames a second. This camera is fantastic. The EVF is beautiful in it. The back screen is very nice. It's got a good touch interface. The layout ergonomics are fantastic where they have the back button autofocus and all that stuff. The buttons up here are great. I think it's a good camera for $1,000. You absolutely can't go wrong. In fact, this camera for $1,000 and then $400 for the 51.8, $1,400 out the door. That's a steal. That's a steal. I mean, there are very few other camera packages that could rival the build quality, ergonomics, weather sealing, and image output that $1,400 would. You'd have to spend significantly more, or at least $500 to $1,000 more, I think, anywhere else to kind of get to that image output. Granted, you could buy an older DSLR and maybe do it that way, but if you want a mirrorless, I think this is one of, if not the best option in photography right now. And given that, the video is not so bad either. So if I can get this set up, let me see if I can kick over to the Nikon real quick and show you what that looks like compared to this. This is the Sony ZV-1, and I'll be honest with you, I hated it on this camera at first. I dialed it in. The autofocus is just spectacular. It's crazy. Like the autofocus is just nuts. It picks up on stuff that's just crazy. I mean, the Nikon probably can't do that. It's just nuts. So, anyways, Nikon video right now. Okay, this is the Nikon Z5. I'm on the 24-70 f4 kit lens, so f4 on full frame versus f1.8 on a 1-inch sensor should be similar depth of field because I think, 1.8 times 2.7 is 4.2, maybe? But this is what it looks like, and again, the autofocus on this isn't bad. I thought it'd be a lot worse. I mean, if I come in right here, come back out, I think it looks okay. I do this with my hand. Hopefully it's autofocusing, I don't know. But I can't see, that's one of the downsides. The screen is a photographer's screen. It's not a fully articulating screen, which for photography, I prefer this screen layout. For video, I like seeing what I'm doing and framing things up and making sure I'm in focus. But this is what the video looks like out of the Nikon Z5. I'm in 1080, 24 frames a second. I'm on the natural profile. I've changed nothing else. This is it. Turn it on and go. This is what it looks like. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, comment section below. The Nikon Z5. Best value in photography or complete piece of crap? So far, my limited experience with it, I'm impressed. We'll see what I think down the road as I use it a bit more, but so far, I'm very impressed. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I don't do that very often, but if you could, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. See ya.